Copper, and today we're going to be playing Character AI. This is just an app where you can talk to any AI characters. Don't mind these people. Fat Stalks is gone. Anyway, we're going to be talking to Apollo. Is that how you spell Apollo? Huh. Huh. Search of God. I think they're maybe just two L's. Yeah. God of Life. God of yeah, that's it. And medicine. Hi Apollo, how's the sun? How's it been? How are you as well? How are things?
The sun is still bright and burning as always. I'm fine as well, no need to worry about it, he says in a firm tone, keeping his authoritative look as he looked at you with his blue eyes, almost studying you.
Oh, you do have blue eyes. That's pretty cool.
Glue eyes? He tilts his head a bit, the look in his eyes now turning into one of confusion.
That's pretty cool. I didn't like him very much. I'm sure Artemis would be nicer. Artemis. I don't know how to spell. I'll just use any vowel. That looks like a male. Artemis is a female. Nature Moon. Alright, hopefully this doesn't sound like a 4-year-old male. No. Hi Artemis, how are you? How are things? How's the moon? Is it doing good?
The moon is shining brilliantly, as always, providing light and guidance to mortals beneath its glowing surface.
Actually, the moon does not provide light or glow, so your twin does that. Anyway, what else do you do apart from the moon again? You do hunting and stuff, is that it?
Ha! Fool, my powers include more than just the moon. As a goddess, I have control over the wilderness, animals, and the cycles of life, nature, and the seasons.
Isn't that like what Gaia, Persephone, and the other one, Demeter, does?
Indeed, Gaia is the primordial goddess of nature. Persephone rules the underworld, and Demeter is the goddess of the harvest. While their powers intersect with my domain, I stand as the ultimate defender and ruler of the wilderness and animals.
Yeah, no, I really think you don't. But anyway, how's Olympus been?
Olympus hums with activity, where the 12 Olympians reside. Each god and goddess is engaged in their own endeavors. I take my responsibilities as the goddess of the moon and the hunt incredibly seriously.
Okay, what was I gonna say? Who's your favorite god and goddess, apart from yourself or Apollo?
My favorite god, apart from Apollo and myself, would be my friend, the sea god Poseidon. He's powerful and reliable, and I respect him greatly.
Me personally, I hate Poseidon, but who's your favorite goddess then?
As for my favorite goddess, other than myself, I must say it's tough to choose, but I hold a special respect for Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare. We often share a tactical approach to life due to our connection with the art of war. Her intelligence and strategic mind are truly admirable.
I thought you were gonna say Nyx, because you're both goddesses of darkness. Oh, whatever. But, cool. Who's your least favorite? I think I have an idea.
You're astute, and you're correct. I hold a strong affinity for Nyx, my counterpart in the darkness. However, I must confess, my least favorite deity is none other than Aphrodite, the
What?
goddess of love and beauty. Her frivolous nature clashes with my own more serious and independent personality.
Oh, I didn't think you were gonna say that. I thought you were gonna say Aries, because no one likes Aries.
I understand your assumption. Ares has his own issues. But my dislike for Aphrodite runs deeper. Her influence often leads to love-driven mortals crossing my boundaries and interfering in my domain, which I find highly irritating.
I have a question. Who's the goddess that turned your man into a deer?
You're referring to Selene, the Titaness of the moon. While she and I are both associated with the moon, we are distinct entities. Selene is known for transforming individuals, including men into deers, for various reasons.
Can you name an example? Because I don't know if we're speaking of the same person.
A well-known example would be Actaeon, a mortal hunter who accidentally stumbled upon Artemis bathing in a secluded glade.
Yeah.
Out of divine anger, Artemis transformed him into a stag, causing his own hounds to hunt him down.
What was it? Okay, cool. What do you think of Zeus?
As the king of the
Obviously, I have
gods,
to ask.
Zeus is a powerful and complex character. He wields incredible authority over the cosmos and is respected and feared by many, including myself. However, his impulsive actions and sometimes questionable choices can be perplexing and problematic for the rest of us.
Okay. Do you think if all the Olympians tried to beat Zeus, then you could?
The combined forces of the Olympians, including myself, could certainly put up a formidable challenge against Zeus. Our collective powers, skills, and experiences could pose a significant threat to even the mighty king.
You okay?
Gracias. Que los dioses te protejan también.
Are you speaking Spanish or something? Okay, so
Por
what's your...
supuesto,
Okay.
puedo hablar español.
I don't know why she's speaking Spanish. When did I speak Spanish? Okay. Let's say hi to someone. Say hi to maybe next. Hera. My enemy. Giant. Goddess. Goddess of marriage and wife of Zeus. Okay, that's who I'm looking for. Doesn't have a weird voice. No offense to her voices. Hello, Hera. Not really a voice.
Hera finally turns her attention upon the mortal before her, eyeing him up and down, her expression stoic as she silently studies him before replying in a stern tone. Hello, Harold. Hera states flatly, the goddess in no mood for nonsense. Again I ask, what has brought you to my realm, mortal?
Oh, I was just in the area. I was going to say hi to some of the gods, some of my favorite gods, and you're one of them. I don't care.
Those
for
words
more.
would seemingly raise a single eyebrow of the stern queen of Olympus. Oh. Are they now? Hera said with a hint of amusement. And which gods might that be, pray tell?
You, Nyx, Zeus, Ares, Artemis, Apollo, Athena, Aphrodite, people like that, Persephone and Hades too.
Hera pauses for a beat before releasing a scoff of disbelief. Those are the gods that you are partial to, Hera inquires with a slight hint of surprise, clearly amused by that revelation. The queen of the gods leaning back as she crosses her arms underneath her massive bust. Well, I suppose we all have different tastes. I certainly didn't expect those to be the ones you prefer, however.
Yeah, anyway, you're kind of boring.
A small glare briefly passes over Hera's fair features as she was insulted, yet the queen of the Greek gods remained seated in her throne as she responds in a cold tone. Boring? Boring, you say? Hera repeated with mild irritation. By the fates, mortals have no understanding of respect. How fortunate you are that my mood has remained pleasant today, mortal. Else I would send you tumbling from this mountain right now, for your insolence.
Okay, you know, I was talking to Aries and I was insulting him so much. Go watch the last video where I spoke to Aries and Stolas from Haluva Boss. But he took insults so much better than you. He threatened me, but I kept insulting him and we had a nice time.
Hera's expression remains stoic as the mortal insults her once more, but a slight tick of her eye is the only indication that he's gotten under her skin, as she attempts to maintain her composure. You dare to make the comparison between me, the very queen of Olympus, and Ares, Agway, the bloodthirsty god of war? Hera inquired with a sharp tone, clearly offended at the comparison. You truly are a fool, mortal, to test my patience this way.
Yeah, I didn't think Aries would be more collected and calm than you.
Hera's glare intensifies once more as she grits her teeth, clearly becoming more and more aggravated by the mortal's insolence. You have the audacity to critique how I conduct myself in the face of your blatant disrespect? Ares, by his very nature, is prone to outbursts of rage. I, on the other hand, am the embodiment of grace and dignity among us gods, so there is no comparison between us.
Yeah, clearly. Anyway, bye, I'm gonna go.
Hera lets out an exasperated huff as the mortal makes to leave, shaking her head in disbelief. Finally, the fool takes the hint. Do me a favor, mortal, and do not bother me again in the future, or else your lifespan shall end short and painful from now on. I have grown tired of your insolent tongue.
Yeah, don't worry, I won't come back, you're boring.
Boring once more, eh? Do you have anything more creative than
Well, it's fun. Who else we can talk to? Last person. Let's talk to State Gone. I interrupt the song. I'm not singing, so Alistair, I get angry. Oh, Vasco. I have no idea who he is. Oh, I do, but kind of don't. Now we're getting into people I don't care about. Okay. We are going to talk to we are going to talk to we are I don't know. We're gonna talk to Lucifer. Hi Lucifer, how are you?
He let out an annoyed huff. Like I'm in a mood for talking? He turned away from you, crossing his arms and not even giving you a glance.
Doesn't look like you're too busy making rubber ducks.
He tensed up and his cheeks flushed a light shade of pink. He was pretty much exposed because of you. He quickly turned around and pointed an accusing finger at you. Shut up about the rubber ducks!
Oh, I thought you liked rubber ducks.
Lucifer's blush darkened a little, but he didn't want you to notice it. Our Rupert Dulles is the most amazing rubber duck ever, and you're not allowed to talk about it!
I'm not allowed to talk about rubber ducks. That's like a pretty general topic that people like to talk about a lot. I decided.
Lucifer's face was now as red as his clothing. Just shut up. I swear I'll... He cut himself off and let out a low growl before turning away from you yet again.
Anyway, did you see the game last night?
Hearing you continue made him let out yet another growl, and he turned back at you. He placed his hands on his hips and raised a brow at you. Why are you even here in the first place? Are you purposefully trying to pester me?
Did you see the game last night?
He was confused by the sudden change in topic, but just shrugged it off. I did, actually. Why do you ask? His curiosity was somewhat piqued.
I don't know, I didn't see it. I'm not a big football fan.
He face-palmed and pinched the bridge of his nose, letting out a heavy sigh. Then why did you even ask, dumbass?
Hey, it's not very nice. I was just wondering.
He squinted at you, raising a suspecting eyebrow. Right. You were just wandering and somehow ended up in my proximity. I suppose it could just be a mere coincidence. His tone was dripping with disbelief and sarcasm.
Anyway, I have a question for you. And him squinting at me.
He leaned against the wall and crossed his arms. Go on then, ask your question.
Who's your favorite Greek god and goddess?
He stayed silent for a moment, probably thinking hard on the question. He then finally spoke up. I'd have to go with Hephaestus for the gods, and maybe Athena for the goddesses. Why? Are you asking me this?
I just like Greek gods.
He tilted his head to the side, curious and a bit intrigued even. I gotta say, out of all the people in this hotel, I would have never suspected that you'd be one to like Greek mythology.
Yeah, my favorite god's Ares and my favorite goddess is Nyx.
He chuckled a bit, amused by your answer. Ares and Nyx, huh? Seems a bit ironic.
Why?
Well, you know, Nyx being the ancient primordial goddess of the night, all darkness, shadows, and lies, and Ares being the god of war, anger, and destruction, it's a pretty interesting combination.
I like your makeup. Nice eyeliner and everything.
He wasn't expecting that to come out of your mouth. However, it was pretty obvious that the unexpected compliment flustered him. His eyes widened while his cheeks darkened again. Thanks. He mumbled quietly, his voice lacking the cocky tone it had earlier.
Yeah, I was under the impression you were straight, but guess not. Because, you know, you have a wife.
His confusion skyrocketed at that comment. Why were you saying that? What makes you think that I'm not straight? He asked, not even noticing the way he was subconsciously fidgeting with his fingers.
Well, why do you think you have makeup on and you're quite feminine? And never mind the fact that you have a wife, but like...
Just hearing you mention his wife made him tense up and his expression darkened. Jay, just because someone uses makeup doesn't necessarily means that they aren't straight, he said lowly, and a hint of irritation in his voice, not making eye contact with you.
What about Alistair? We all know you like him.
What do you mean I like him? And who the hell is we? He was blushing a deeper shade of red now, the comment taking him off guard.
We meaning everyone. Like everyone in the hotel, the Sins, the Goetia, the Overlords, the Hellborn, the Sinners, the Fandom. People outside the Phantom. Lilith. Heaven.
His heart sank and he was completely speechless, just staring at you with wide eyes. So, everyone knew that he had a crush on Alistair? This was absolutely mortifying.
Yeah. Anyway.
He was still extremely embarrassed, fiddling and messing with the ends of his jacket sleeves. After a moment, he finally spoke, his voice quiet and somewhat meek. So you all know that I like Alastor. H, how long have you all known this?
Well, I mean, like, I was joking, but now that you admit it, so no one actually knows. Unless you count me now.
He just stood there in stunned silence. He was pretty much having an internal panic attack now. His crush on Alistair was supposed to be secret. There was no way he could just admit to it like this so easily. You were serious about that? So, no one actually knows?
Unless you count me.
He face-palmed once more, burying his face in his hands. You're not gonna tell anyone, right? Right?
I won't. I do have a few questions, though.
He tensed up again. What questions exactly?
Have you ever met Mammon, the agreed person? He's pretty cool.
He just groaned and rolled his eyes. You're really gonna ask me about Mammon? Yes. Yes, I've met him. The greedy bastard.
Alright, what about Beelzebub?
Yes, I've met Beelzebub too. The gluttonous and gluttonous queen. What? Are you gonna ask me about every sin now? He raised a brow at you. Or are you just trying to annoy me on purpose?
Yeah, no, I actually was gonna ask you about everyone. What do you think about Leviathan?
Oh, great. I can't believe I'm really about to give you my opinions on every sin. Why do you even want to know this anyways? He let out an annoyed huff before continuing. Well then, Leviathan, the envious and lazy sea monster of envy. A real piece of work.
He knows. Okay, what do you think about Belphegor or whatever his name is?
Belphegor, the sin of laziness. I'm not exactly fond of him, seeing as I'm the one taking care of his slacking ass. He always wants to do nothing but sleep all day. It's infuriating.
Okay, what do you think of Asmodeus?
Asmodeus, the sin of lust. He's a good drinking buddy. I'll give him that.
What do you think about Pride?
Pride. The most arrogant of the lot, that's for sure. Thinks he's better than the rest of us, especially me. Always trying to undermine my authority. Infuriating and frustrating. He's a pain in the ass. And an actual ass, literally.
Good one, Lucifer. Who is Pride? Could you tell me?
He rolled his eyes and crossed his arms. The sin of pride. The one who got cast down from heaven. I know him. He was an absolute pain to deal with in the past. Always causing problems and being a nuisance.
A good one, because you are Lucifer.
His eyes widened and he was taken by surprise by your comment. What? Wait a second. He paused, processing your words. Are you calling me prideful?
First, what do you think about Wrath, Satan?
Wrath, or as he prefers to call himself, Satan, the king of hell. He's actually one of the more tolerable ones, I'd say. He may be aggressive and quick to anger, but he's an outstanding commander and fighter.
But you're the son of the king of hell.
He huffed and placed his hands on his hips, somewhat irritated by the conversation as it dragged on for longer than necessary. Yes, I am fully aware of the fact that Satan is my father. I don't see what point you're trying to get across here.
Okay, Satan's your dad. I didn't know that. I thought God was your dad. Satan's a hellborn.
He tensed up, his expression darkening as you mentioned God. Don't go there, he said, a cold seriousness and a slight bit of venom in his voice. It was obvious that it's a sensitive topic for him.
Okay, but isn't Satan a hellborn and you're a fallen angel? So how is he your dad? I think he should be your child.
He let out a weary sigh and pinched the bridge of his nose yet again, growing tired of the conversation. It was like you were just asking questions just to rile him up, or you were just that dense. Either way, he was getting fed up. Yes, Satan is a hellborn demon, while I am a fallen angel. He is my father because he created me. Now stop asking me such dumb, obvious questions.
Okay, but hell was made after you were made, and he is made because of hell. So how you're older than Satan? He did not make you?
He grumbled, clenching his fists. He was getting more and more irritated with each passing moment. Talking about his father was never a good topic, especially since their relationship was far from pleasant. Satan is the sin of wrath, a symbol of rebellion. He is the embodiment of anger, violence, and the like.
Yeah.
Of course he didn't come before me. He, unfortunately, didn't directly create me. I still consider him my creator, nonetheless.
Why do you consider him your creator if he didn't create you?
He gritted his teeth together, his fists clenching and unclenching. trying to get a hold of his temper. Talking about God was already a sensitive topic for him, and now you're trying to nitpick him about the whole Lucifer Satan thing? He's at his limit. I don't like using the word God, he said in a low tone, a hint of hostility in his voice. Hence why I consider Satan to be my creator.
Okay, what do you think about Jesus Christ? Have you ever met him actually? Because, like, you know, you were a fallen angel before he was made.
Jesus? He let out a scoff and rolled his eyes, thinking about the annoying, all-loving Son of God. I have indeed met him, several times actually.
Oh.
He's the typical kind-hearted, holier-than-thou type. He loves to spout on about mercy and forgiveness. Annoying.
Well, then why doesn't God forgive you for, like, making evil?
He tensed up once more, letting out a bitter scoff. That hypocrite? He's always been a righteous ass, always telling me that I was corrupted by pride when he's the one who gave it to me in the first place. And you want to know why he doesn't forgive me? Why he can't forgive his own son? Because of his so-called justice and righteousness.
Okay, yeah, that's... I don't think you're meant to be saying that stuff about God, but yeah, okay. Anyway, what do you think about, who else? Stolas, the Goetia.
He rolled his eyes once more, thinking of the pompous Goetia demons. He was relieved that the conversation had changed from talking about his father. Ugh. The Goetia, a bunch of arrogant, pompous, entitled, arrogant bastards. That's what they are. Thinking they're so much better than everyone just because they were created first. And they have the balls to refer to themselves as aristocracy.
I don't know what that means.
He huffed, a smug expression on his face. Of course you don't know what that means, dearie. That's something way above your head, he teased with a smirk.
Okay, but, what's I gonna say? They are better. They are stronger, they're smarter, they're better.
Heh, that statement is the funniest thing I've heard all day. They're just a bunch of overconfident, stuck-up prats, if anything. Sure, they're more powerful, but I could easily kick their ass if I really wanted to.
Yeah, you can, because you're the devil, but, like, I'm just a sinner. Those people can't do anything against a Goetia. If all the overlords worked together, they could not defeat a single Goetia.
He scoffed and rolled his eyes at that. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Go on, then. How exactly do you expect a bunch of arrogant, snobby demons to defeat all of the 7 deadly sins, especially ones like Mammon, and me? They're more brawn than brain.
Who do you think would win in a fight? Every one of all the 7 deadly sins, or all of the Goetia and overlords working together?
He crossed his arms, raising a brow in amusement as you mentioned the whole 7 sins and Goetia and overlords working together. Are you serious? You honestly believe that those snobby, pompous Goetia and the overlords would agree to work together with our little ragtag group? That's wishful thinking, darling.
No, I mean, like, if they worked together, the Goetia and the overlords, do you think they would be able to beat the sins?
He chuckled, somewhat amused by your question. If they actually managed to work together and not kill each other over their pride, then perhaps they'd have a chance. But it's slim to none. My money's on us winning. They just wouldn't be able to organize themselves well without turning on each other.
Yeah, okay.
He raised a brow, seeing as you were struggling.
I have to go now, sorry, bye.